Hello, let's try these windshield wipers. Some people call them lifted scissors. Some people call them lifted reverse Charlestons. That's because a lot of moves have a lot of overlap and you can really interpret it in many ways. But I'm going to call them windshield wipers now because that is what they look like. So for this move, it's important to get a little bit of flexibility in your body. I recommend stretching always before dancing, but especially for moves like this, which require extra flexibility. Especially the hips, the hip flexors, the inner thighs, the quads. Let your head hang. Let the stress fall out and roll up. Feel the sound of the music in your body. Get fluid. It takes a minute. I always notice that I dance way better if I really let myself loosen up and enjoy the music in a very freestyle way. The lead up to the dance is just as important as the dance. One is getting into it, feeling it. And the other thing is to get hyper, because shuffle dance is hyper and it takes a lot of energy. And if you don't have the energy to lead into it, it's going to feel hard and fast. But the more hyper you feel leading up to it, the easier and more fluid it will feel. Okay, let's get started. This is the windshield wiper. You're essentially doing two things with each leg. So you can practice with your right or your left leg. First, bring it into a 90-degree angle so that it's facing one way, and then rotate your hip so that it faces the other way. Do you see what I mean by how it needs extra flexibility? You don't have to bring the leg up as high as I'm showing you here, but the higher you are able to bring it up, the more dramatic the move will look. But that's not the important thing right now. The important thing is to just learn the move, get the movements down, and start small. Start with smaller movements so that you can get it down and later on increase the size of your movements. So basically, practice making that switch from one foot to the next, going from one leg pointing outward and jumping into the next leg pointing inward. Here it is from the back. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. So this is at half speed, 60 beats per minute. Let's keep this going. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that you want to reach forward with the opposite shoulder so that you make a twist at the waist. And the other thing is that in order for your foot to go up, your knee has to go down. If your knee is raised, your foot can't be raised too. And it's easy to forget that. You might think, oh, I want my foot higher. So then you end up raising your knee higher. But it actually is going to work against raising your foot. So you can also just practice lifting up that foot. See how it feels to lower your knee and raise up your foot. Some people barely even raise their foot. It's a stylistic thing. For me, the important thing is to twist at the waist. You always want to have a strong core with this move. If you don't have a strong core in this move, you'll look a little bit out of control, and everything looks a little better when you're in control. Play around with it. Play around with the twist, with your legs, bringing the knee down or holding it up. See what you like more. Look in the mirror. It's good to fine-tune before you do the repetitive practice. If you know the reverse Polly Pocket, this is a good move to rotate with the reverse Polly Pocket, because you're doing very similar movements. It's just that with this move, you're bending your knee, and with the reverse Polly Pocket, you're kicking it straight out. So you could do a couple of reverse polys and then a couple of these windshield wipers, like so. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. You can always loop this phase. Windshield wiper, reverse poly. Windshield wiper, reverse poly. Windshield wiper, reverse poly. So it just adds a little more interest into the movement if you're doing this in a dance flow. If you don't know how to do the reverse poly, I highly recommend checking out that tutorial. It'll also make this move a lot easier. The move looks a little bit less tight and controlled when we're doing it in half speed, but we're just going to now focus on keeping the core tight while we do it and rotating those shoulders. You've got this. Feel free to loop it or move on to phase 1 at 100 beats per minute.